So we talk first about the flat Earth silliness, and many people are following this idiotic claim, and maybe the most prominent guy who's doing that, his name is Eric Dubai, and you can find his website easily on internet. And he made a kind of small book, PDF, where he says that he has 200 proofs that the Earth is not a spinning ball. Well, I've been to, I think, almost all 200 of them because it's completely boring and mostly he's flat out wrong. But I'm gonna give in this. I'm not gonna talk about each of those 200 silly claims. I'm talking about just a few of them, and they are more than enough to falsify this nonsense. And of course, we all know that NASA means not a straight answer. NASA is absolutely lying to us, no doubt about it. And I will show later on why NASA is lying. But the fact that NASA is lying does not mean that that you can conclude that this planet is a flat plane instead of a sphere. That is nonsense. That is completely not logical reasoning. Yeah. So this jumping from this to this is completely wrong. NASA is lying, but that does not mean that this planet is a flat plane. One of the so-called proofs of this Eric Dubai guy is the logo of the United Nations. And of course, we all know too that this United Nations has nothing to do with real democracy, because it's actually a kind of organization founded by the New World Order people. So this is no doubt about this, that this has everything to do with the New World Order and the way they want to dominate this planet. But the fact that they show this planet from the North Pole and then pulled out a little bit does not mean that this is a correct representation of this planet. That is completely illogical reasoning. I don't understand how anybody could have thought of this. They just want to show different things here. And one of the things they want to show here is, of course, the number 33, because there are exactly 33, how should I call them? Shapes within this pattern. Yeah, there are 5 rings and one in the middle that makes a total of 33. And of course, that's an important number. We find also in the Scottish Rite Freemasonry. And there are, I've talked about this before, how important the number 33 really is. So it's a hidden meaning, the 33, and also it's a kind of structure they put on this planet so that it's a kind of imprisonment of this planet. That's something you can see in this logo, but not that this planet is a flat plane. And of course, when we count the symbolism in the branches of the olive tree, we find the number 13, and that's also very, very meaningful. Yeah, the 13 families at the top of the New World Order power pyramids that want to rule this planet. So it's about 13 and 33, and I can talk much more about this, but that is really hidden here. Yeah, the 13 and the 33, and not that this planet is flat. This is what the flat Earth lunatics are telling as a representation of our home planet. They think this is really a kind of flat plane, circular, and that we are living on top of that. The point is, they have never answered the question, what is then under it? So that's also really, really remarkable. But anyway, this is how they represent this world we live on. And with just very simple logic, I'm going to prove this completely wrong. First of all, we all know what happened before the USA was pulled into the Second World War, because there was an attack from the Japanese military air force to the islands of Hawaii, to the harbor of Pearl Harbor, sorry. And here we find Japan, and there's Hawaii. So if these flat Earth is a really correct representation of our reality, of the planet we live on, then it would not make much sense to fly from Japan all the way to Hawaii to attack the USA, because it's much more easy to fly straight to Alaska, where there are 9 USA military bases. So it would have been much cheaper for them to attack one of these bases here instead of flying nearly twice as far on this map, not really, of course, on this map, to fly all the way to Hawaii. Yeah, here you see the arrow to Hawaii, and this is the arrow from Alaska if you put them on here. So that makes really sense. Maybe the Japanese didn't know we lived on a flat Earth, and that's why they flew too far. But I hope you can understand this kind of reasoning is ridiculous. And what they also say is the Arctic at the South Pole is very much larger, and actually you can only be on the inside because you can never be on the outside, which is also a completely silly claim. Yeah, the Antarctic is not as big as this, because if you calculate how much square meters this would have, of square miles, it's incredible. So it's completely ridiculous. Yeah, so the Japanese flew from here to here. That's what they really did. That's why they attacked Pearl Harbor instead of flying here through California. Yeah, they could have also flown to Alaska, but that's a little bit less, but that's also quite a distance. So maybe this was more easy for them to fly under the radar or something. And of course, let me also point this out. The head of the military in the USA knew everything about this, and even the president was warned about this, but they decided not to take any action because they want to get dragged into the war. The military-industrial complex wanted the war, wanted the USA to participate because that's really good for their business. And that's exactly what happened. Yeah, what I've learned in my research is that the Japanese actually were not really eager anymore to do it, but they were somehow forced to still attack Pearl Harbor. So I think the history is completely different than what we have been told. Pearl Harbor was the same thing as 9/11, but then many years earlier. An excuse to start a war. And now comes the big hit, because if the flat Earth lunatic theory is true, then flying from here, from Sydney to Santiago in Chile, so from Australia to Chile, would require an airplane that goes with a speed of almost Mach 3, because 3 times a week there is a direct flight from Sydney to Santiago, and the flight takes 12.5 hours. This distance, we can easily calculate this in the flat Earth lunatic theory. The plane would have been flying by 3,200 kilometers an hour. Yeah, that's incredible. That is much faster than the Concorde used to fly. Yeah, much faster. The people on board of this plane, they would go 2 times through the sound barrier. So it would give a huge bang to the people who are on the floor. And this flight would then go directly above the USA. So 3 times a week, the people in the USA just have to look up to see a plane that goes 4 times as fast as all the other planes in this direction. I'm more than 100% certain that nobody has ever seen such a plane, if it's a Boeing, then it's a really remarkable Boeing that can go that fast. So I think this proves beyond any doubt that this is completely impossible. People fly 3 times a week from Sydney to Santiago in 12.5 hours with a normal plane. So I hope by now you understand this whole talk about flat Earth is completely ridiculous. This is the real trajectory of the plane. It's going like this, and this is a normal time, normal flight, normal speed. And what about the Coriolis effect, if you're still not convinced? How is it possible that at the northern hemisphere, the winds, the tornadoes, and the air is going in a different direction on the southern hemisphere? And the equator is exactly the demarcation line in between. At the northern hemisphere, this direction of each tornado, of each powerful wind, or all the directions of winds actually always go counterclockwise, while on the southern hemisphere it's always going clockwise. How is that possible if this is a flat plane world? What would cause this Coriolis effect? If you are that clever and you still believe in the flat earth theory, then explain it to me. And if you can't, then book a flight from Sydney to Santiago. Yeah. And if you then still think it's true, then maybe your brains are not really working that well anymore. I'm sorry to say. And the same is true for all the dynamics in water, but only if you do a really controlled experiment. Flushing your toilet or your sink or your bathtub is not enough, because many influences can make the direction go in clockwise or counterclockwise motion. Yeah, you can easily change it. So that's not a controlled experiment. You need to do it really good. But if you do it really good, then you find it like this: the same effect, counterclockwise spin, spiral going inwards on the northern hemisphere, and a clockwise spin on the southern hemisphere. Yeah, if you look at the colors here, the way they go around, this was recorded on the northern hemisphere, this on the southern hemisphere. And if you think, yeah, I just copied these pictures from internet, or maybe I just swapped them, which you can easily do, then I advise you to watch these two videos. This guy is called Destin, and this guy, his head is upside down, but that's a joke from them, is on the southern hemisphere, and his name is Derek. And Derek and Destin made two videos, exactly the same. But this one was recorded on the northern hemisphere and this one on the southern hemisphere. Here you can find the URLs. Yeah, just type this in on YouTube and you'll find them easily. And there you see that it's completely true. Yeah, they made a top and they made it really controlled. No force is pulling. They open it really carefully, and then you see with the colors in the water that this is a counterclockwise spin on the northern hemisphere and a clockwise spin on the southern hemisphere. Yeah, this is, to me, scientific proof on top of everything else I've told you. So I think this should be more than enough proof that the Earth is not a flat plane. The Earth is indeed a sphere, just like all the celestial bodies we see around us. And why would, and if you look at our planet spinning from the northern hemisphere, so it's from the North Pole side, from the top, then you see indeed a counterclockwise spin. This is the way the Earth, our home planet Terra, is spinning, seen from the top of the North Pole. And seen from the top, so to say, or the bottom from the South Pole, you see exactly the reverse, because it's the same planet reversing in the same direction. But seen from the South Pole, it's now a clockwise motion. Yeah, maybe I should take a sorry. I hope this goes well. Maybe I switch off this and I come back later. I hope it's clear with the light. Yeah, this is seen from the North Pole, and now you have a counterclockwise motion. This is how our Earth is spinning. Terra is spinning very slowly. And from the southern hemisphere, it's exactly the opposite direction. It's the same motion. Yeah, because this is the way it's always going around and around and around. Okay, I hope this was clear. Continue sharing my screen. Yeah, so on the northern hemisphere, seen from the top, it goes like this. On the southern hemisphere, seen from the bottom, it goes like this. But it's the same motion. And that's why we have the Coriolis effect. It's the same thing. And for instance, why would this guy, it's actually a Dutch guy, Nicholas Johannes Visser is his name. Why would he make so much trouble to create a map of our home planet, a spherical map, but presented on 2 dimensions, if it would have been flat? And if it is a big conspiracy, how could this guy in 1622 already be part of that conspiracy? Doesn't make any sense. So what he really did was trying to create as accurate as possible an image of our home planet. And many others did as well. And even in ancient Greece, it was easy to calculate for those who knew, for instance, Pythagoras, how big our planet was based on the length of the shadows at the same time of the day at different longitudinal, different places on the planet. So with simple mathematics, you can calculate how big this planet is, and he was off by just a little percent or something.